Improving the moment. So we've all had times and moments where we've felt like this, where we just feel so stressed out and our emotions feel so big in a situation, a crisis, that we just can't see which way to turn. We can't kind of see a way out of things, and we just feel like our head's going to fall off. It's just too much. So what we can do is we can do things to improve the moment without making things worse. So today we're going to talk about how we can do that. So when we're feeling overwhelmed by a stressful or difficult situation, and especially if it's long lasting, or when distracting or self-soothing activities are just not working out, we're going to look at different ways where we can kind of cope in the moment, cope with the crisis without making things worse. So what is it? What does improve the moment mean? Well, it's about making things more positive in a moment, replacing negative events with more positive ones. So making them feel more manageable and more bearable. And we're going to look at lots of different ways in which you can do that. So by swapping the horrible stuff with nicer stuff, it can make you feel differently. As an example, if you cut your finger, you put a plaster on your finger. Now that hasn't made the pain go away, it hasn't made the problem go away, but it's a quick fix solution to stop that problem getting worse in that moment. So you're stopping it from getting infected, you're giving your finger time to heal, so you're trying to improve the moment. So here is a picture of a dog in the rain. So have a think about how that dog might feel in that moment. Here's another picture of a dog in a similar situation, but the dog, the owner, has tried to improve that moment by being in the rain but with an umbrella. So how might that dog feel? Might that dog feel differently? So same situation, same scenario, but kind of doing some strategy to feel like they're improving that moment. So one strategy that we can use is using our imagination. Our imagination's really good at thinking of the worst possible case scenario and writing that whole script. So we can use that same skill that we've already got and we're already really good at, but we can use it to imagine other things. We can visualise in our mind a situation different from the distressing one that we're in. So leaving the current situation, which is overwhelming, in our mind and kind of going somewhere else. And this will always be a safe and secure place because it's your imagination. You kind of make it up. You decide where you want to go. It could be a place, a room, a different country, somewhere within yourself that makes you feel safer. So have a practice of using different ideas. It could be somewhere lovely, safe, secure. Some people, their sort of safe place is their bed, where they kind of just can go home and snuggle into bed. Other people, it's far away lands, on a lovely sunny beach somewhere where they're the only people there, and it's just peaceful and quiet. It can be absolutely anywhere, because this is your brain. This is what is nice for you, and it will be different for everybody. Using prayer or belief is another way that we can improve the moment. And if you believe in God, this might be a time when you speak to your God, your higher being, whatever that might be. You don't necessarily have to believe in God to do this. You see people on Facebook or Instagram, when someone's struggling, they write messages sort of thinking of you at this time, sending positive vibes out there to the universe. I'm praying for you. I'm hoping everything goes okay for you. It's whatever higher being or something above yourself that you can communicate your distress to. It's not about begging for your pain and suffering to go away. It's about just kind of communicating to something outside of yourself. So for me personally, it's about I think that there are plans, there's things that are written for me, and it's like, okay, I know this is in my plans, and I just need to get through this, and I kind of communicate it out in that way. So we will all do this in a different way at times of distress. Another strategy to improve the moment is to try stuff that helps you to feel relaxed and helps you to feel calmer and a bit more chilled out. So that might be listening to relaxing music or changing your posture so you're sat in a more relaxed posture, so your body feels more relaxed in that moment. Being in the moment is another way of improving the moment. So rather than allowing our thoughts to take us to the past or to the future and intrude, and our thoughts can often make things worse. We can amplify a crisis situation. So by being in the moment and focusing on what it is we're doing right there, right now, and it can be something really ordinary, but concentrating on what you're doing, focusing on your body movements, putting aside painful thoughts, it can be really helpful in a crisis. So even though it's difficult to do, it can refocus your mind. And you've always got this with you. So say something happens and you've got to walk home and it's a crisis situation and your thoughts are going all over the place. Now, you could walk home and you could be worrying about what's coming in the future, how you're going to fix it, and you could make yourself feel worse. Or you could walk home thinking, I'm going to really focus on the walking, one foot in front of the other. What does the pavement feel like between on my feet? What can I see? I'm just going to be really mindful of this walk home and really ground yourself in that moment. So you're focusing on something ordinary rather than allowing your brain to take you somewhere else, which will make you feel worse, which will amplify a crisis situation. We've also got cheerleading as a strategy, saying positive things and encouraging words to ourselves, whether that's out loud, depending on where you are, or whether it's in your head. So you've always got this. It might be something that you're not very used to doing, or you need a lot of practice, because you might have fallen into the trap of being quite negative towards yourself, quite harsh and critical, which it happens, and we often don't even need enemies because we're horrible to ourselves more than anything else. So try and imagine maybe something that you might say to somebody else in that situation. So what would you say to someone you cared about, someone you worked with, someone close to you? Because quite often we would only ever say positive and encouraging things to them. So you've got that there, you've got those ideas there, but flipping it around onto yourself can just make it a bit more trickier. So try and imagine what you would say to somebody else in that situation, so that can help you. And it is really hard, it is really tricky. For me, my favourite one that I say to myself, if I'm in a situation and I'm stressed out, I'm in a crisis, whatever, I always just say to myself, come on, put your big girl pants on, you've got this. You have absolutely got this. And that is what I'm always saying to myself in my head. I'll be talking to myself like, come on, you've got it. You've got it. And it works. It helps me to feel better. And I think, oh yeah, and it makes me even stand differently and everything. And I think, I've got it. I've got it. Or another one is, this won't last forever. This won't last forever. I always say that to myself in my head as well. So here we've got the same chappy again, but in that moment, the crisis still might be going on. The problem still might be there, but he's not doing anything to make that worse. He's improved the moment, and therefore he's not making a crisis a disaster, if you like, by doing different strategy that we've talked about. So it's not going to take problems away. It's not necessarily going to solve a problem, but it's going to stop it from becoming a bigger problem. Everybody wants happiness, nobody wants pain, but you can't have a rainbow without a little rain. So we need these moments. They help us to grow, they help us to develop. It can't be sunny all the time, because we'd probably just get really bored as well, more than anything. But we have difficulties and hurdles, and and we've still got to live out our lives and pursue our goals, and we've still got to keep going. So everybody has these moments, and we need them. And in DBT, we're really grateful for these moments, and we embrace them, and we think, oh, brilliant, because they give you an opportunity to practice your skills. Because how do you ever get good at something if you don't have any opportunities to practice? So even that in itself, reframing anything that comes in as well, this is just a cracking opportunity to practice my DBT skills. So you can reframe things in that way. And to help explain a bit more about how this is really helpful, there's a YouTube video called How Do Lobsters Grow? And I'm going to play the sound to it because I can't figure out how to get the video on. So I'll just play that.
There's something I want to tell you about the stress and how we have to look at stress, okay? And I think it's an important thing because many people have told me from my lectures it's the one thing they remember, okay? I was sitting in a dentist's office and looked at an article that said, how do lobsters grow? Well, I don't care how lobsters grow, but I was interested in it. And it points out that a lobster is a soft, mushy animal that lives inside of a rigid shell. That rigid shell does not expand. Well, how can the lobster grow? Well, as the lobster grows, that shell becomes very confining. Right? And the lobster feels itself under pressure and uncomfortable. It goes under a rock formation to protect itself from predatory fish, casts off the shell, and produces a new one. Well, eventually, that shell becomes very uncomfortable as it grows, right? Back under the rocks. And the lobster repeats this numerous times. The stimulus for the lobster to be able to grow is that it feels uncomfortable. Right? Now, if lobsters had doctors, they would never grow. Because as soon as the lobster feels uncomfortable, goes to the doctor, gets a Valium, gets a Percocet, feels fine, never gets off its shell. So I think that we have to realize that times of stress are also times that are signals for growth. And if we use adversity properly, we can grow through adversity.
Have a think of a situation that you're in every week that you could make better. Think about how you're going to improve it. Something you could use, one of these strategies that we've discussed, that you can just improve that moment and not make it worse, not make it more uncomfortable.